Ladies and gentlemen of the media, a few minutes ago, I signed a directive declaring a high-profile person a fugitive from justice. This person is wanted by the OSP to answer charges in respect of several cases, including the following.
Na ebusuani ababeto dwane say say your former finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta some security personnel be abura ne fie so armed men be already on any residence and omo accuse special prosecutor say ono and osma the boys they say omo bora ne fie ho.
And at 4:16 p.m. the very next day, that is yesterday, Tuesday 11 February 2025, before we could respond to the letter that came on Monday, the OSP received another letter from Mr. Ofori-Atta's lawyers. This time, it was an inquiry. Mr. Ofori-Atta's lawyers wanted to know, and they stated that they were informed by the household of Mr. Ofori-Atta that in the morning of Tuesday 11 February 2025, that is yesterday, 12 men, comprising 1 police officer, 4 military men, and 7 other men in plain clothing, visited Mr. Ofori-Atta's house, and that by threat of force, they were able to enter Mr. Ofori-Atta's house, and they undertook an exercise purporting to be a search of every room, office, gym, and other spaces in the house. Mr. Ofori-Atta's lawyers then inquired if the OSP could confirm that the actions of the 12 men were the instance of the OSP, so as to enable them to decide if a complaint to the police would be unnecessary.
Now about Bontia Ochemu say Ken Ofori-Atta ne dane wanted list so. No nankasa mo ane ye na ye investigation. And I was shed that akwakote kukubu. And I was stage say some armed men be abro ran akachi na and discomforting or investigation or mo yero. Na eno embaso da. Or twini mu time. Or ye wanted no nankasa ye hiano ebisa the questions. Yes. Now investigations ni bi omo pese omo yero no efa ye national cathedral che say materials ne kaseme course so it's a mismanagement course.
Ladies and gentlemen of the media, a few minutes ago, I signed a directive declaring a high-profile person a fugitive from justice. This person is wanted by the OSP to answer charges in respect of several cases, including the following. 1. Contractual arrangements between Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited and the Ghana Revenue Authority for the stated objective of the enhancement of revenue assurance in the downstream petroleum sector, upstream petroleum production, and minerals and metals resources value chain. 2. Termination of a distribution, loss reduction, and associated network improvement project contract between the Electricity Company of Ghana Limited and Beijing Zhaochen Technology BXC. 3. Procurement of contractors and materials and activities and payments in respect of the National Cathedral project. 4. Activities and payments in respect of a contract awarded by the Ministry of Health, initially commenced by the Ministry for Special Development Initiatives to Service Ghana Auto Group Limited for purchases and after-sales service and maintenance of 307 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter 305 CDI ambulances for the National Ambulance Service. And 5. Payments out of and utilization of the tax refund account of Ghana Revenue Authority. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, the fugitive's name is Kenneth Nanaya Ofori-Atta. Mr. Ofori-Atta is 66 years old. He was the Minister of Finance of the Republic between 2017 and 2024. Mr. Ofori-Atta left the jurisdiction on or around 2 January 2025. On 24 January 2025, the OSP communicated to Mr. Ofori-Atta that the OSP considered him a suspect in respect of 4 of the cases described above. Mr. Ofori-Atta was directed to attend in person the OSP on Monday, 10 February 2025 at 10 GMT for interview. By communication dated 31 January 2025, Mr. Ofori-Atta instructed his lawyers to inform the OSP that he was out of the jurisdiction indefinitely on medical grounds, and that the firm will notify the OSP of his arrival in the country in aid of rescheduling his personal attendance at the OSP. Further, the firm offered its willingness to provide the OSP with any information the OSP may require to aid in the investigation until his arrival in the country. Then on 5 February 2025, the OSP responded to Mr. Ofori-Atta, copied to his lawyers, that the OSP did not need or require notification from his lawyers of his arrival in the jurisdiction. The OSP acknowledged Mr. Ofori-Atta's lawyer's gracious offer to provide the OSP with information in aid of the investigation. However, and this is important, the OSP insisted that Mr. Ofori-Atta's personal attendance at the OSP was required. After all, the lawyers are not under investigation. I don't need lawyers to answer questions on your behalf when you are being investigated. The OSP declined Mr. Ofori-Atta's request to be away from the jurisdiction indefinitely on medical grounds on his say-so. Consequently, the OSP directed Mr. Ofori-Atta to indicate by close of business on Monday, 10 February 2025, a reasonable date of his return to the jurisdiction and attendance at the OSP. The OSP warned Mr. Ofori-Atta that if he failed so to do, the OSP would take all necessary legal steps to secure his return to the jurisdiction and attendance at the OSP at our own choosing. Subsequently, by a communication dated 10 February 2025, that is just Monday, Mr. Ofori-Atta's lawyers transmitted to the OSP a generic letter procured by Mr. Ofori-Atta purporting to be from a doctor in a foreign jurisdiction, stating that Mr. Ofori-Atta had been seen and evaluated, and that he was undergoing further testing and management and possible surgical intervention at an indicated future time. And further, that his medical condition necessitates that he will stay and follow up on his appointments. On account of this purported medical letter, Mr. Ofori-Atta's lawyers prayed that the attendance in person of Mr. Ofori-Atta at the OSP should be fixed, taking into account the medical report from his doctors. And at 4:16 p.m. the very next day, that is yesterday, Tuesday, 11 February 2025, before we could respond to the letter that came on Monday, the OSP received another letter from Mr. Ofori-Atta's lawyers. This time, it was an inquiry. Mr. Ofori-Atta's lawyers wanted to know, and they stated that they were informed by the household of Mr. Ofori-Atta that in the morning of Tuesday, 11 February 2025, that is yesterday, 12 men, comprising 1 police officer, 4 military men, and 7 other men in plain clothing, visited Mr. Ofori-Atta's house, and that by threat of force, they were able to enter Mr. Ofori-Atta's house, and they undertook an exercise purporting to be a search of every room, office, gym, and other spaces in the house. Mr. Ofori-Atta
Ken Ofori-Atta is wanted by the OSP. Now, near Trama walk around National Cathedral. Ebusia, Adani swimming pool. They see that $58 million. Adani swimming pool. I don't know. Say people put the Adani fish pond. Ayet your mind with Jessica Eko. Sasikano. Yedima each region bia. Uni be debate me your mom. A bit me a bro my nepa. Yes, say sika more than say. Yedis kabaye mpuntu juma ewo my way. Oh, seriously. Ohwe sika ya obehu se peni bia tam. Nipa baako. He said the wardrobe allowances keke. Enya asem ketwa. Na ohwe sa sika we a Ghana podianka ede ne yenya. Good health care. Say ebenya insuo pa no. Your electricity be stable. That's all. Say yetimi tackle these 2 things. I think say the Ghanaians will have peace of mind. Kakra. Sika almost say no. Somebody shape to do me one mind we are transforming. Maybe when say I brought any baby na ya and penny for you. Oh yes, tell you the gospel fact. Adena munya ye mi shesa and man the ordinary Ghanaian. And tencha wanafi obaba bedru Ghana. eti OSP no so me mi so mo bojuma biana he can decide so on baby what you say need here but anyway ebusia any update be beba no me de bebrem me da obi biara ase say oje ni mre edi hwe video no me no nyina yen your man mapa peace.